Well, you mentioned yesterday or the day before on one of the videos that when I was in town I was looking at ammunition, how it, very picked over. And what I didn't mention too was, the place where I was at, they normally carry quite a little reloading stuff. And that was really picked over. So evidently people have gotten into the idea of reloading out of desperation, if nothing else. But it was funny because I was even finding, like say, there were some boxes of dies that the boxes were empty, that people had actually taken the dies out of them. It's a slippery thing to do, but evidently that's what happened because they used to always have dies in them. They're sitting right out on the shelf. I guess if nobody's watching, you could slip the dies out, nobody would know better, but I think they were the RCBS ones. And they're just kind of sitting loose in there, so if you can open a box, yeah, they'd come out. But that's not a good sign. But anyway, my thought was if you're going to start reloading, your best way to start is with the Lee Classic loaders. And they used to be cheap. It used to be $25, $30. Well, just for the heck of it, I went and looked online now. There's a lot of them that are going crazy, like $115 for the little loader kit, And they work great. I like them. I've got them for every gun, for every caliber that I shoot. I think I do have one. Well, I don't know that I have like a 9mm one or a 45 ACP. But, I've got dies, regular press dies for them. But for rifle calibers, I try to keep one for every one of those. But like I said, they used to be cheap and a really good way to get into reloading. I hate to see when people spend hundreds of dollars to get started reloading. It's a lot better if you could, like I say, get started with the Lee loader. But when even the used ones are going at crazy prices, and the new ones now, they're limited to what they make. They drop the calibers way down. They don't have that many anymore available. That's too bad. But even let's say if you had one of them, the problem now is there really isn't, like when I was looking, there was the bullets and stuff were just, bins were empty. I did see some 9mm hollow points, and I was tempted until I seen the price, and I thought, oh, I don't need them, because I've got a lot of stuff on hand, and usually in the pistols I'm shooting lead anyway. And I've got plenty of lead. Actually, I have plenty of everything. I have enough supplies in primers and powder and bullets and lead, and I have everything I need to last me for the rest of my life. If I could never buy any more, I'd be fine. Unless I get some other weird caliber. But for somebody starting out, that's going to be a real bugger. I don't know why they, you never see the Lee loaders in stores, though you used to. Like I say, years ago, the first one I bought was out of a store, but it was dirt cheap. But it's funny, because, like I said, there really was very little, just some odds and ends left in the reloading supplies. Which is going to make it really tough for people starting out. But you can't afford to, pay that crazy price for ammunition either. I don't really understand that, but when I think of as much ammunition there was even like 6 months ago, just the amount of ammunition that was in the store compared to now, that's all out in the public, that's a hell of a lot of ammunition out. And I don't know that, like there's a shooting range like a couple miles away from here, and boy, I don't even hear much shooting from them anymore. I think people are kind of cutting back. But like I say, I do shoot a lot, and it really doesn't, like I say, I've got enough to last me. I could shoot thousands of rounds, would make no dent in it. And it's because the last time, we went through this whole deal with primers once before, when you couldn't get a primer, or if you were lucky, you could only buy one box, or all you could find was the Magnum primers and that sort of stuff. So I got a big trunk full of primers of every kind of primer that I could possibly need, including shotgun primers. I mean, I just have a hell of a selection of stuff that I can't see that I could ever use up, all of them. But I think there's going to be people scrounging just for any. When I see videos on people trying to reuse primers and stuff, well, that's okay, but you should never get into that desperate of a situation. And like I say, I won't be. I mean, I got everything I need. I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging. It's the last thing you should be bragging about. But you really do have to plan ahead. And after we was through that once already, people should have jumped on that and got everything that you need, and be prepared for this sort of nonsense. Because for a while there, it was very abundant. Even the loaded ammunition was abundant and was relatively cheap. Well, those days are gone, and I don't know that they'll ever come back. But you should have had enough warning to stock up way ahead. But like I say, for the stuff that I normally shoot, I don't shoot a lot of bullets, of factory bullets. I shoot mostly lead in most of the guns that I shoot the most often. Though for things like the 308, yeah, I shoot factory bullets in them, but I've got a lot of factory bullets of many different types for a 30 caliber, because they work in so many different guns. So I'm well stocked up on that stuff. I'm really stocked up on everything. I've got brass, but I really, for people that are really scrounging, you really should keep your eyes open, for those Lee loaders, because, man, that is the most practical, simplest way of getting into something like that. Rather than paying these crazy prices. I mean, even if you have to pay this, I see some of them at like $75, clean up to, like I say, $115. But even that, even at that crazy price, rather than buy ammunition for crazy prices, it makes sense, But it's a bad situation to be in. And I know a lot of stores that used to handle reloading stuff that got out of it. Well, they could be making a killing on it now, if they were to stay in it. But I guess maybe they thought there was more profit in the loaded ammunition. But now they can't get that, so that doesn't do them any good. But I just thought I'd mention that, when I saw that all that reloading stuff gone. That's a pretty sad situation to be in. But like I say, I have no worries. But I'm glad I bought ahead. Because I just remember that when it was that problem getting primers. So when primers became available again, I bought up a bunch of them. Because I don't like being caught short on that sort of thing. Well, on anything. I tend to buy up a lot of anything. If there's something I know I use, if I get a deal on it, I'm going to buy up a pile of them. in sometimes what you would say would be ridiculous things, but it has always worked out very well for me. And in this ammunition stuff now, this really worked out well. Because, like I say, I'm sitting pretty. But think about Lee loaders. You know, if you're really scrounging for ammunition and stuff. But that's where I like now. When there's snow on the ground, I tend not to shoot anything in any of the automatics unless I've got surplus, because I can't find the brass as easily as I'd like to. You know, and to me, the brass is an important thing. Though I have, you know, tons of brass that people have sent me over the years, just given to me, so I've got a lot of brass for stuff, but that's something that's hard to work around, not having brass. That, the primers, you know, powder you can always do a little substitute, this and that, and bullets you can always cast the lead bullets, though, you know, for some it's not ideal. But it's funny, you know, them Lee loaders, I don't know why people don't get into them more. Or why they, you know, because they tend to want to buy, like I say, big expensive setups. And it takes a long time to pay for that to pay for itself. You have to do a lot of shooting, you know, to make that pay. Where them Lee loaders, at the price even that they're at now, you know, load a couple, 3 boxes of shells is paid for itself. But you got to be able to get the primers and the powder and scrounge up brass. But that's usually not a problem. Like I say, brass, that turns up. And most of the time, for like most of my loads, you know, like I've got a lot of 4064 because I use a lot of that. It works well in a lot of guns. So I really stocked up on that. But and that's the one, you know, for a while there, I kept seeing that was still available, even in the big, like a gallon jug, you know. But I didn't even see that this time. I see a lot of black powder substitutes. But like in my 45-7, yeah, I can run them. Just it's corrosive as all hell, but I could run them. But I would say, you know, keep your eyes open for them Lee loaders if you got, you know, you really should, you know, my theory is always, you always have on this stuff a fallback position. And that's what the Lee loaders are for me, is that fallback position. You know, it's something you really should have, you know, try to have for every caliber that you use. Well, it's getting dark.